Welcome to the Virtual Compound, where three women brought together by dance found friendship and sanity through commiseration and coping with life in the military, parenting, fitness, faith, and dance moms. Welcome back to the Virtual Compound. Today we're talking fitness, and not in just one area of fitness.
It's 4:14 Friday afternoon in California.
It's 7:14 p.m. in Maryland.
It is 8:14 a.m. on Saturday in Okinawa.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's Friday for Lacey and I. For anybody who was
Yes.
wondering, just in case.
I already did
A day
Friday.
behind.
Yeah.
And since we're talking fitness, did it come off? Look, I did. Oh, I don't know if it's going to show you.
Oh, what is that?
Glow in the dark.
Where'd you get
Yeah,
those
there it is.
from? Oh, how
Your
cool.
glow in the dark tattoos because I did glow in the dark yoga last night.
Where did you do
Ooh.
that?
I don't know if it existed while y'all were here. Do
Okay.
you remember a yoga studio called Unity at all?
Was it down in Tsunabe?
Yes.
I think it had like just opened right before I left. Do they also do aerial yoga?
I think so, but don't quote me.
Okay. I won't. Except,
Oh, is it by like an acai bowl place or something, or like Happy Bowls?
oh,
or...
yeah. It's like right next to a restaurant or something like that.
It is very close to a restaurant.
Okay,
I feel
I
like
think so.
one of the spouses clubs did an event there.
Probably.
That I was doing a million things that year, so I didn't make it to that event.
What? Unbelievable.
I know, right? I never do anything. It's fun. Well,
Ever.
I love your tattoos. Those are fun. Glow in the dark.
Cute. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And it was like the kind of workout that I enjoy because it was actually really hard. And it was like yoga and drinking also, but it was like there were times where I was like, I'm gonna be so good at this, and I was not.
It's like the people who are so good at karaoke after a couple of drinks, and they are not.
Well, I did not drink because driving and drinking in Oki,
Very bad.
But-
Yes.
very bad. I just drank water and still not so good.
Not so good. Oh, well.
There were some things that I was like, the people that were drinking, and
I-
they were like solid and doing this, and I was like, I don't even have the alcohol to say why I
Just
can't
saying.
balance.
Ye who gets up on tiny little boxes.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah, that's true.
We're beyond that.
You empower yourself whatever way you need
Thank
to. Yes. Well, I was going to say that it's up for Lacey, but it sounds like she's talking to people in the back.
It's okay. My baby's just super angry right now.
Oh.
Oh, angry baby.
She's like, it's time to eat, and I appreciate that you have other children, but I really don't care. Sorry.
This is only about her.
I mean,
For everybody who's
She's
going to
not
be
wrong.
watching us on YouTube, you'll see what Lacey's doing. For those who are not watching on YouTube, Lacey is currently driving her kids to their fitness, which is dance. And so she is dealing with the little baby who doesn't really like the car seat, unfortunately.
Yeah, so she's cool right now. As Katie said, we are talking fitness, nutrition, the importance of sleep and stretching and trying to stave off injuries since we're coming up on summer. So my not area of expertise, if you will, is primarily nutrition. I geek out on that. I love it. Nutrition is kind of my focus on everything when my family started getting healthy 15 years ago. So we found CrossFit and we started doing it. But just prior to that, my husband was like, what if we changed our nutrition? If you can hear my baby, I'm trying to console her because she likes my voice. It's weird. Anyway, so he's like, what if we change our nutrition first? And I was all for it, hands down. Okay. We just started eating, protein at every meal, upped our veggies. I made our bread. I made our pasta. I made our tortillas. Like everything was pretty much like home created. And then we started CrossFit, and I had already lost, like 3 sizes. And then starting CrossFit in your 20s, I lost instant weight. And then they're like, hey, try paleo. And then we switched to paleo. And that was really, really incredible. And so through all of that, I did a ton of reading because I like to cook, cooking, baking. That's one of my favorite pastimes. And through the reading and the understanding and the different books that there are, and just kind of like doing a deep dive on nutrition and how our bodies work and how they use the different energies, I kind of go back to the paleo every single time that I'm like, oh, I'm going to try and like eat sweet potatoes and eat some, rice, or throw in a different carb here and whatever, just playing with my nutrition. My body hates those things. Anytime I have rice or, you know, russet potatoes or, white potato, like starchier things, I start to pack on the fat versus just eating the meat and the vegetables. So I'm going to bring it down like simple, where honestly, it's easier to eat just meat and vegetables and stick to like a paleo diet than it is to throw in like the rice or the grains, because then it's like, oh yeah, I can eyeball it. And you just eat a little bit more rice every single time because it's freaking addictive. Same thing with bread.
I mean, I'm there to a point. Like, I know that nutrition. I've spent long Marco Polos with Lacey about my complaints with my body in recent weeks, so she's heard all about this. But my only thing, like, I'm all about nutrition in like trying to keep it all healthy. I also can get addicted to breads. Maybe not addicted, but I love bread. I don't love every single bread, but I do love bread. So that's definitely one that's harder to kick. And rice was not that big of a deal until we moved to Japan, and then we came back from Japan, and we use rice a lot more than we did like before. Before we used quinoa a lot, but out in Japan, it was a lot more expensive to get quinoa than it was to get rice, and easier to like grab that. So I've made in the last couple weeks, like trying to switch out our rice for quinoa and regular pastas for alternative pastas, whether that's chickpea or various things that some nutritionists put on their like diets. I've got a friend who's going in and seeing, she managed to find a nutritionist who is considered a family practitioner. Well, that's not exactly the right term, but a family doctor. And so TRICARE will cover everything, and that's amazing. So I just took pictures of everything that they recommended for her, and then we tried to adapt some of that, not to me specifically, of course, but to our like situation. Amelia, you tried to follow Whole30, right? But like not necessarily like to a T,
Thank you.
just
I do because, well, it's easy. But like not perfectly.
right.
So I would say like probably out of all the cookbooks and things I have in the house, and when I look up recipes, I mostly look up Whole30 because it's easy and it's meat and vegetable and like very little processed foods. And we don't really eat a lot of processed foods, which I think is the big key, and like kind of very almost like anti-American, because like when I was home this past summer, and I think we all forget like the vast amount of like selection
Yes.
and things that we have in America. Like there's a store here and John Q.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's like the most overwhelming place I've ever been in my life.
So much.
Things like flash at you and talk to you, and they're screaming at you in Japanese. And on the same aisle that you can buy pencils, you can also buy shampoo.
Right.
But it's a very overwhelming place. That's how I felt in American grocery stores, because there was like an aisle of peanut butter, and in Japan there's like 3
Yeah.
different kinds of peanut butter, and
Yes.
that's like to include the commissary.
Yeah.
You can have 3 different kinds of peanut butter. And yeah, it's like the amount and overwhelm of processed foods is so great. And we just, to stay healthy, we just avoid that. I just try to have the kids have like fresh whole food. I have never done Whole30 like how you're supposed to,
Right.
ever. Um, I've only ever done Whole30 in the like, I use the recipes, but for example, when it says like make your own make your own barbecue sauce or whatever, instead of making my own barbecue sauce, I'll like buy what's that paleo brand?
I'm not good at remembering the brands.
I can't remember. There's like a paleo brand that I try to buy, or try to buy one that has like, I look at the ingredients. If I can pronounce them, I'll buy it.
Right.
Not like super processed stuff. Um, so I cheat heavily on Whole30. I have kids that are like fine and decently healthy, so we'll have pasta. Um, I don't like rice my own cauliflower all the time. We just have rice sometimes. So yes, I use Whole30, but also like within limits because we don't have any like other health concerns. Like we don't have to be gluten free.
Right.
We don't like,
Well,
I'm not trying to lose weight. We're not trying to like bulk up or reset our gut or anything like that
right.
because Sam and I've pretty much always eaten really healthy, like paleo for a long time. Well, paleo-ish. I always say ish, like we're Whole30-ish.
Right. Well,
Ish.
I mean, the thing to
Heavy on the ish.
remember, yeah, the thing to remember with paleo, we'll go back way back there to Atkins, Whole30, like all these, they're not actually intended for like your entire lifetime diets in their
No.
most strict situations. They are meant for people who are weightlifters and trying to cut and like have a very specific nutrition for a goal. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a place in people's like every day. You just have to do it within what is considered healthy, right? Because like Atkins on its own at its like most restrictive was not healthy, and neither are the ones that are necessarily like strictly all high fats or strictly protein. You do still have to have carbs, and you do still need to have all these things, because that is what your body runs on. But the point of them is to have them in moderation.
I mean, we've done strict paleo and to great results, to great, like we feel great, but we also, we're like, we have some elves in the house, you know, like Buddy the elf with like the sugar problem.
Mm-hmm.
We have that problem in this house. And so I always try to like rein it back in because I do all the reading of how bad these things are for you, and you're not like supposed to have them as often as certain people want to eat them. And the little indulgences are okay and fine. Like you look at the doctors like Mark Hyman or even the leaders in the paleo community like Mark Sisson, and they're like ripped dudes who eat super clean all the time, and that's cool, and I think that's sustainable. But also personally, not necessarily enjoyable. I like ice cream. I like cookies. I like treats. So I think as long as you're doing like 80% of the time, you do that 80-20, maybe not 80% of your day and 20% of your day is cheat, but like
Right.
80% of your week and 20% is cheat. It's sustainable. But if you go longer, like if you're really wanting to cut and going longer, like the fruit is a definite like not stabilizer, but like it makes it more sustainable. Like so when I'm eating, like right now I'm trying to cut back on body fat after having the baby, and I'm, you know, meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds. Like I don't really worry about the fats. I don't consume a lot of fats, but you need fats even if you have fat because it's for your brain. But like the fruit, I'll have maybe like, typically I don't at breakfast. Typically don't have fruit. I have like vegetables and eggs and like maybe bacon. But after lunch, I might have like a few berries or some watermelon, and then I don't have anything like right after dinner or before dinner. Sometimes I will, but it's usually before bed. Like I want, that's when I want the sweet, and that's when I'll have like an apple or watermelon or berries or whatever's in season. Like right now, my fridge is full of fruit. Sorry, Amelia, but not sorry. I'm trying to rub it in because,
Come back to us.
basically. But yeah, I think it is
Make your country
sustainable.
affordable.
Eh,
I mean, the
mm.
rest of the country is more affordable, I feel like, than California, especially when you're looking at like the gas prices.
So you can
across the
come
nation,
here. Okay, we're getting off track again, but you
where
can
it's
still come
cold.
here. It's not cold. Shh.
No, I guess we're coming into the warmer seasons.
Yes.
Don't believe your lies.
It's like 90s here today. It's
No, I
freaking
believe you. I
phenomenal.
don't believe her.
Oh, come on. It's going to be, let's see. Yesterday it
2
was it
degrees.
was like 77 yesterday, and the high tomorrow is going to be 75 and then 82 on Sunday.
Downside though, it's super humid.
Well, that's because we have also, not all the time. Right now, we're kind of like Amelia, we're kind of sitting in our rainy season, so we've had almost a week straight of rain. So
Ugh,
next week is going to be very humid, and then it will get better.
no fun. Anyway, but I do think that it can be sustainable. I mean, there are plenty of people, like I have a friend, he's Korean, he listens all the time. Because he's
Hello.
super supportive and awesome.
Hi, friend.
Hey, buddy. And he can eat rice like no problem and be super ripped and cut because
Mhm.
genetically speaking, he's prone and like built for that. Me, I am not. And so it's like my husband will crush a pint of Ben and Jerry's every day, and he won't carry around like any body fat when we're, being consistent with our training. I have to be super consistent with my food and not consistent with the sugar intake because, woman and
Mhm.
over 40 and no testosterone, which, testosterone I feel like is an unfair advantage, but I get it genetically speaking of, why men have it and whatnot.
Right.
But still enrages me that they can have as much ice cream as they want.
I know.
I can't eat like a man and train like a man and look like a woman. I just can't do it.
No.
And so I just have to let go and let God. But I will say that eating like primarily meat and vegetables, like the carnivore diet also has like some benefits, and I can see like the science and the things in there, and like the more science I see, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, and I get it. I do like vegetables and I do like fruit, so I'll stick to like more of a paleo just to get that like satiety of the sweetness because it's a mental thing.
Mhm.
And I grew up eating way too much sugar, and I don't want to give up that sweetness, even if it is so I can eat like ribeyes and bacon all the time, which I would probably be down for. But all that being said, with your fitness, like the bottom of the pyramid always is going to be your nutrition and sleep.
Mhm.
Those are like the two areas that you have to have on point consistently across the board if you want to maintain fitness. Like I get, because of deployments or moves and PCSs around the world or pregnancies and 6 kids and the crazy schedule of life right now, I haven't been able to work out consistently, but I can jump right back into my workouts, pretty much lifting like the heavy lifts and out, like putting out with the running or whatever at the same level as I was pre-pregnancy without the consistency of fitness because I'm maintaining the consistency in nutrition and sleep.
Yeah.
I
It's a
mean,
big deal.
mostly the baby did crave the bad foods and that was the whole thing. But primarily those are like the key things. And if you're doing those key things, it's going to help you, fuel your body and avoid injury. If you're
Yes.
eating right and you're sleeping right.
Sleep is so important, and it's really hard. Like us as moms, anybody, as you get older, it's just so hard to do sleep. But sleep is like so important to preventing injuries. Like it really is, because what most people don't realize is that, and maybe most people don't do realize this, but they just don't talk about it. Your body needs sleep in order to recover. It needs sleep in order to heal. It needs sleep to digest. It needs sleep for a million reasons, to help your brain reset. Like you need sleep, and you need a full sleep cycle in order to do that, to prevent injuries and to help everything along. To go with that, as you hear me start talking, I'm going to talk a little bit about that side. I'm not necessarily some crazy person who's just going to throw out some injury stuff. I have a Bachelor of Science in Athletic Training. I was board certified from 2009 until 2 kids in the Marine Corps took over my life, and I no longer have that job. But I use it every day in my own knowledge and with my own family. And it's so important to think about not just gaining your muscle or not just meeting your goals, but listening to your body and paying attention to like what is a good, as oxymoron as it sounds, what is a good pain and what is a bad pain. And not all pain is gain. And sometimes you need the situation of no pain, all gain. There is actually a workshop I went to that is their mantra is no pain, all gain. And it's not for the purpose of saying don't push yourself until you're sore, like, don't work out your muscles and prevent soreness and DOMS, but more you can get just as much improvement in helping out with your injuries or preventative by not forcing yourself beyond the point that you think and most people kind of talk about needing to be in. And that is really one of the biggest things to remember. It also is a good thing to remember how old you are. Do you really think that you can do the same things you did at 20? The answer is probably not.
Yes. Yes, I do.
But that's my own mental problem.
Yes, I do.
I mean, so here's the
I
thing.
get very mad when I can't.
I know. I do too. I'm not saying that we don't get mad and we shouldn't have those reactions. My point is we should remember that we're not 20, and that was, in fact, 20-ish or close enough to years ago.
That feels hard.
No.
And dumb.
I know.
Not fun.
I'm not fun
No.
in this. You're right. And there's a reason that people don't always want to go to the athletic training room. But if you do all the things on your own, you don't have to. But when you do have to, there is no shame in going and getting a personal trainer. There's no shame in going to physical therapy to help you get started. I, in fact, have been in physical therapy for a year now. I've kept Zoe in physical therapy for dance. She actually does that along with conditioning. She does physical therapy twice a week. At some point, we'll get her back down to just once a week, but hers is a combination of preventative for dealing with a previous injury that was not dance related. It actually happened when we were skiing in Japan. But due to COVID, she couldn't be seen because everything went red while we were in mainland. And when we came back, they wouldn't see her because it wasn't considered emergent. And so we had to do a lot of things at home. And, it did take her 4 years to realize that I have a degree in this. So she didn't really listen to me all that well. So finally I was like, fine, we're going to go to a physical therapist who at least you'll listen to them and do whatever it is they say, even though we could just do this at home. Whatever. TRICARE will pay for it. I don't care. A lot of insurances now will give you 12 appointments without a referral to see a physical therapist. And that is an excellent place to start if you want to whether you have an injury or you want to start with getting yourself kind of checked out. You can go in and find one that is specific to what you're looking for. So a general practitioner, like practicing physical therapist, if you're trying to get into like CrossFit or something, is probably not the way you need to go. What you probably need to be looking for is one that is centered around sports medicine and giving them an idea of like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm wanting to do. Or if you're just trying to get back into the basic gym, you need to go in and talk to that too. Use everything around you. Like whatever you're going to tell your personal trainer, you should also tell an athletic trainer or a physical therapist, along with your medical history as to why you're in there, of course. But going in and talking to them and getting, looking at the reviews and getting an idea of what it is you're doing. Because when you go in, sometimes they're going to just treat you like every other patient they have, and they may see a lot of geriatric patients who are going to be dealing with people who don't have a lot of core strength and they don't have a lot of leg strength, and their biggest problem is that they might fall down easily and get hurt. Well, that's not necessarily what you need. Like maybe you're working on your core or maybe you're not. You aren't necessarily looking for your stability. You're looking for making your whole body work again, not just and building it up from the core up, but I don't mean that literally, but the ground, from the ground up. We'll do it that way. But then also don't be ashamed of if it's not the right fit. If you get started with one, you can find another one. And you don't necessarily have to have like the first one that the doctor's going to give you unless you're in a restricted area, like in Japan. The only options that I had after I had my knee surgery was on base. Like I couldn't do anything else, but it was COVID and that's all you have. But if you're not in that situation, there are so many physical therapists and clinics and even some schools who will open up their options to you. Just get on and see who takes your insurance and go and check them out because it's so important to start in a healthy situation and make sure that you are ready to move on in your fitness life in a healthy manner. And if you have student athletes, it's even more important to make sure that you are giving them the access to this same kind of, not technology. Why did I just blink out on the word I wanted to use? Professionalism. That's not really it either. But the side of like medical professionalism of making sure that somebody who is there to support them, maybe that's really where I was going, is like this kind of like medical support, right? Making sure that it is, they understand injuries happen. There is no shame. And these people are trained to help you get back and go back to what you're doing, not to keep you off the field or to keep you off the court or to keep you out of the studio. So utilize them. Go in and talk to the athletic trainers, talk to the physical therapist, and get your kids set up for longevity, both in their activities, but also in their life. Because if you, as they are growing, if you can help to set up healthy bodies through nutrition, injury prevention, and making sure that their actual fitness is well-rounded, they're going to just be amazing as they grow up and continue doing whatever it is they're doing in life. Like
if you look at all of this, like focusing on, proper nutrition and proper exercise, and it's the same thing with like finding the right PT, but finding the right coach. Like I've personally been at gyms where I've seen coaches injure clients, but I've not ever had that issue because I'm a little bit modest in starting people or myself and not pushing the intensity too much to avoid injury. But if you're investing in these things, it's health insurance for your family.
Yes.
Like legitimate health insurance because you're extending their life and their capacity and ability.
Yeah. And that's a good point. It goes both ways. It's not just about who the support after injury or beforehand. It's if you are in a position, like you have your coaches, whether that's in a sports team or in the gym, who have a history of sending people to physical therapists when they did, in fact, seem to be all very healthy, maybe you need to look at finding a new instructor, a new coach, because when I was working in a clinic, we did have people who came in with injuries simply because it doesn't matter if they were instructed, the things that they were told to do in their classes were not good. They weren't safe. They weren't stable. Like it does go both ways where it's not all about the aftercare with the injury. It's about preventing it and then making sure that you have the good support in the fitness level, like in the instruction, that you're not going to be injured while doing it. That's incredibly important. And it's a great way of transitioning just straight over to Amelia.
I mean, like injury prevention, flexibility, especially as you get older, is kind of like the segue into that. It's like people think flexibility, and I think like what people immediately think is like, I can do the splits, and like I can, like I think they immediately think like dancers and like circus people, right? Like the like tricks and gymnastics and I think that's what they think
The
of
super bendy
flexibility.
people.
The
like
super
one of our
bendy, and they're like,
dancers.
well, I don't need to be flexible for like whatever, but it's like flexibility is also getting out of a chair and like
Yes.
lying down and squatting and picking things up and moving. And I think we get a really interesting perspective here in Japan because as people get older, they also they keep almost their same level of activity. Like in parks,
Yeah.
you see very, very elderly Japanese people like walking and
Mhm.
stretching using these like machines and things. And it's that type of flexibility. Like, can you touch your toes? Can you reach up like this? Like, you don't think this is flexibility, but like think how many muscles are engaged when you like
Yes.
reach your hand over your head. Like I mean, I know we've all had like probably situations like this, but like my grandmother literally couldn't put a shirt on
Mm-hmm.
as she got older because she lost so much flexibility just by not using it. And you see, I think saw that in if our grandparents are still living in our grandparents. Some of us have very active grandparents that stayed not even necessarily working out, but kept their mobility
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's what flexibility transitions to as we start getting older, your mobility, your ability to move and get around. Um, And it really is, I mean, like I was saying at the beginning, I took a glow yoga class. It really doesn't have to be like this crazy yoga flow,
Right.
like thing that you do, but like stretch every day. Just engage your muscles and elongate and lengthen them every day because as you get older, your flexibility is harder and harder to get back. Like I
Mm-hmm.
lost my splits several years ago, and when I was dancing, I was never a very flexible person ever. I had to show up 15 minutes before most of my friends. If I wanted to start, I had to show up 15 minutes and start stretching 15 minutes before they started class if I wanted to start class as flexible as they started cold.
Mm.
Just like not a very naturally flexible person.
Right.
It was a lot of work for me to be even mildly bendy. Um, and if I lost my splits, which like I did when I didn't stretch and stuff, I don't know, a week I had them back, and I lost my splits a couple years ago, and it was like a solid year and a half of like actually trying in order to get my splits back. And it's
Yeah.
like that is you lose so much, and it takes so much longer to get it. Where if you
Yes.
just are consistently like do like the bends, like touch your toes, flat back, stretch out your hip flexors, all these things that you think like, oh, well, it doesn't matter because I think we take for granted so much of our mobility right now. And like we were talking about, when we're 20
Right.
and you can stay up until 2 a.m. and then wake up and do your morning 3-mile jog to class
Yes.
and not be sore.
I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like you ever had fun doing that, though.
No, but you could do it and not
Yes.
feel like you had just entered like the first circle of hell. And now, if we did that, I actually think I would just not do it.
Just opt out of it.
I think I would just opt out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well,
it's important to flexibility, not for like the tricks in the show, but for your mobility and your ability to move around as you get older and not even like elderly, just older. Like I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I want to be
yes.
able to go up
Yeah.
the slide and go down the slide, and I want to be able to pick them up and carry them around, and I want to be able to do all those things, and I know people now that they're older children like, oh, I can't pick up my 8-year-old. I want to be able to pick up my
Oh,
8-year-old. I want
yeah.
to be able to I want to be able to
Mhm.
play with my kids.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Well, and all of the flexibility also increases joint strength.
Yes.
And joints are the first thing to get injured or replaced in the elderly. Like I remember my grandfather getting both of his knees replaced, and he was probably like late 60s, early 70s. My mom's
Did you
had a
hang
hip
up?
replacement. Like there have been those are the hip and the knees are the first thing that needs to be
Mhm.
replaced, and you can only have 2 of those replacements per side.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if the video is distracting with my baby's head popping up and down. She's listening and doing squats.
That's,
YouTube.
I mean, she's just performing all the fitness that's necessary. No,
Exactly.
what I was trying to do, I know I'm like looking down, I was trying to look up the guy. I know you guys had to have seen him, like super fit guy who people like sent him these videos, typically of girls who are doing like,
Joey Swole.
no, the, super fit, like ripped black guy. Super nice.
Oh,
He's got
yes.
the little pity that's like
Is his name like Market? His dog's name is
Duty.
Duty
Is what he calls him. Yes.
Duty.
Yeah. I love him. Oh, what?
I love
He's
him.
amazing.
I love him too.
I love him.
I love him
He's
so
the
much.
best.
We should have him on here someday.
Oh, he's way more famous.
But
He's so famous.
just for fun, we should have him on
I
here.
love
But
it when he's like, "Y'all trying to kill me.
I
Y'all really
know.
want me to go be with Jesus."
I know. I love it. So, and I just love it when the dog is like all up in his face.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's like,
It's
"These people are superhuman."
Yeah,
They're
but
real.
but with it, like the flexibility of even he has problems with it, right?
Oh,
Like he is very ripped, but he's not flexible, and people just
He's
don't.
not a bodybuilder,
No.
which we all know are not flexible.
Yeah,
But he is a fit person with like limited flexibility. And a lot of those things that are sent to him and that he tries are like parlor tricks. They're
Oh,
like
yeah.
one focus.
yes.
Person focuses on that
But-
for a while. But
But for instance, he can't touch his toes without bending his knees. And not everybody can. But my point is even in that, you do have to look at the whole, like everything about the body, not just the body, but the nutrition and the fitness itself, the before injury, the before fitness and the after fitness, and then the longevity through the rest of your life. Because while we're only going to be this active for a couple of shorter decades, not that we're not going to be active at all, but your prime active is typically at the younger years. But you have to remember, you've
Yeah.
got 30 to 40 years after that, sometimes more, that you need to remember has to carry on. And whatever you're doing now is going to affect what you can do then
mhm.
and the state your body is in when you try to do whatever that is. You know, my dad was very active his whole life, and he had an injury as when, let's see, this would be about 12 years ago on while skiing. Oh, so did Zoe. This is weird.
You
Anyway.
guys need to stop
I
skiing.
know, right? And he tore his meniscus, and he dealt with it for all that time. And he went in, it was just bothering him. He went in a month before I had my patellar tendon repaired, and to get that cleaned up, and ended up with all this other problem and infection. It ate away at cartilage in the bone, and
Oof.
oh yeah, it was a thing. So last year he finally was like, okay, I'll go back in for a total knee and like get it all taken care of. And he had that done last fall, and now he's doing pretty good, and he's preparing to go back on a hiking trip this summer. Not to the level he was doing when he was 30, everybody,
Yeah.
because my dad's in his 70s, but he's prepping to go back into it. So, you know, he has done all of those levels and not let it stop him. And remember, just because I have this, you continue with your whole, the look at the whole,
Yeah.
at your nutrition and your injury prevention and your fitness, and where do I want to be? And he still wants to be there. So he's finding ways to make sure that he's there. And
Yeah.
you know, it's what I strive to be like. I want to just hopefully without a skiing injury.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these setbacks happen. Like,
Yeah.
that's life. You have these ups and downs and these waves, but that's why like consistency matters.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to like try to eat for consistency. And like, yeah, even I recently like heard about food noise. I didn't realize this was a thing, and maybe it's a newer term. But it's like it's the need to overeat, or the issue you have with food, and like you're thinking about it, and like it's an unhealthy relationship with food boiled down. And anyway, I heard about that recently, and yes, like you can try and eat consistently, and that's why I say like 80-20. 80 of your week is clean, 20 is dirty. And like just don't let that derail you. Like, oh well, I ate a cookie and then I pounded 5 more cookies. And I might as well just go get an ice cream sundae or, Taco Bell or whatever it is. Like, you can stop yourself. Like, you have to talk with yourself and have these things. And there is, I forget what part of your brain it is, what it's called, but it's a part of your brain that in people who basically lack discipline or don't do things that they don't want to do, it's really small. But in like athletes and disciplined people who do the thing that they don't want to do, like they don't want to do it, but they do it anyway, it actually, this part of your brain gets bigger and bigger. And it gets easier and easier to do the things that you don't want to do. Like, do I want to go out and wreck my fresh hair by sweating really heavily and working out? Not
Right.
necessarily. Yes, I enjoy working out. Do I want to run? No, I don't. But am I going to do it? Yes, I am.
Yes. Yeah.
Do I want to eat, a head of broccoli and bell peppers for lunch? Not really, because I'd rather have them cooked, but I'm going to do the thing I don't want to do because I know that I want to be here for her and like run around and chase her at the playground and be that mom that I was for my other 4.
Mhm.
And I want to do those things. And it's all about like life insurance and longevity.
Yes.
And the more you do the thing you don't want to do consistently, the better you are in the end. So going to bed early and making sleep a priority and making eating right a priority and stretching and, going to the physical therapist, even if you disagree with their methodologies or their, whatever the case may be, like doing the hard thing and the thing you don't want to do is what you need in the long run.
In that case, find a new physical therapist. Not one that's going to cater to you. You don't want
Yeah.
anybody who's going to cater to you. But if you're heading, you're never going to get to your point. Go find a new one.
Yeah. They have to have, like you said in the beginning, like, you guys know everything. You're the worst patients.
Yes.
But when I love doctors that are like, they have that humility of like, yeah, I don't know everything. And they don't necessarily like follow the rule book to a T.
Mhm.
Then I'm like, okay, we can talk and be friends.
Yes. We can do
Because like
this.
you understand there are areas where you're gonna learn stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like the best thing ever. Like I told my son, like as long as you're doing jujitsu and you're like getting that element of cardio, I don't care if you go bro out and lift weights. But before that, I was like, you have to do like CrossFit style to get the cardio in there because the heart stuff matters too.
Yes. Yes.
'Cause I just want to lift weights all day too. I get it.
But you just can't. Yeah.
No.
You just can't.
Yeah. Baby knows.
Yeah. Listen to her.
She said, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's taking all of this in, and she's going to be throwing it back in our faces in like 30 years. So it'll be
Mhm.
fun.
Probably.
Bring it on, little one. Bring it on.
Mm.
Amelia's over there bobbleheading. Amelia, look
Yeah,
at the camera. Do you want to say it, Lacey?
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's
Happy
Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, and what better gift to give your kids than a longer life?
A longer life, indeed.
Amen.
Longer, healthier life.
Yes. So enjoy your Mother's Day and enjoy your kids and your wonderful long life.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you have something to contribute. If you do, let us know via email or on any of our posts on our socials. And as terrible as we are at posting on our socials, some of us who remain nameless are trying to get better at that with our busy schedule. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Virtual Compound Podcast for hopefully more content, maybe some updates. I don't know. We'll see.
Check out this live video on YouTube. It'll be up. Bye.
Bye.
Said,
No,
like,
no,
with
no. It stopped recording. When did it stop recording?
Ah!